my family kind of had like, they would celebrate New Year, like they would celebrate, Christmas. But one day, I had some friends in school that were like of Arab descent, and they were like, Jesus is in the Quran, right? And I had never read the Quran, never read the Bible. I was only in like 5th grade. I was like, Jesus, we believe in Jesus, man? They're like, yeah. I was like, dude, that means we can do Christmas, man. I'm getting all excited. I'm like, shit, we're Muslims and we believe. I'm like, we really believe in him? They're like, yeah, man, we love him. He's like one of the most important people in the religion. He's mentioned more than any other prophet in that book, by the way. Jesus Christ is the most mentioned figure in the Holy Quran, by the way. I don't know if Christians know that. The most mentioned. There's a whole chapter called Mary, peace be upon her. She's the most important woman in Islam. Literally, her and the Prophet's wife, Aisha, who gave us so much of his life and his narration. I probably want to talk about that too. People like to attack the character of the Prophet Muhammad based on his marriage. They say he was a pedophile. He married a 6-year-old and a 9-year-old. This is the number one way that people want to attack that religion, try to attack it based on his marriage and trying to understand a culture from 2,000 years ago. There is no exact age. This is the question I will flip to people that want to use that type of personal attack to try to dishonor or disclaim the work of the Prophet Muhammad. First of all, in the state of New York, the age of marriage was 13 years old, bro. They just changed it a few years ago. If you don't believe me, look it up. The legal age you could get married in the state of New York was 13 years old. Was that normal? No, I don't have a daughter, but if I had a daughter and somebody tried to marry her at the age of 13, they'd be hanging from a tree, bro. They'd find him in the Hudson River because that's just crazy, right?
Yeah.
Latino culture, they have something called what? Quinceañera. Yes or no?
Yes, quinceañera.
Most 15. People don't even understand what does that mean? Well, why do they dress up their daughters at the age of 15, like basically like they're brides, and then they throw like a party for their birthday? Because in that time period, hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, you were telling the community, my daughter is of age of marriage. That's what that's from. Sweet 16. Would you let your daughter? What person in America will let their daughter get married at 16? You celebrated Sweet 16 because you were telling the world, my daughter's of age. You can start to court her. Doesn't mean you can take my daughter and bang her. It means she's of age with morals, morality. You have the right now. She's old enough to date, to seriously consider marriage, is where that comes from. So I'll ask you, is it normal for a girl to get married at 15?
Definitely not.
But at one time it was. Because the world operated, especially ancient cultures, when a woman had her menstrual cycle, she was now of age to be married. The minute they had their menstrual cycle in ancient... So people want to analyze an ancient culture 1,600 years ago with today's perspective, when meanwhile in their own backyard, these are the laws. And you want to attack a guy that lived 2,000 years ago almost, who all his enemies never once said, this girl you're marrying is too young. No, because they would arrange... There's people in Albania that were arranged marriage before they were even born. That doesn't mean they consummated the marriage. Mm-hmm. I know people whose grandparents were engaged in the belly because it was a clan structure. It was like, okay, if I have a daughter and you have a son, like let's say like 2 different clans, but they're friends.
Yeah, it's like Game of Thrones shit.
Exactly. Your daughter's pregnant. Your daughter's pregnant. If one has a boy and a girl, you guys want to, yeah, and they didn't ask you. It was all arranged. So just because he had an arranged marriage before she may have been the age of consummation does not mean that that was normal or irregular. That was very normal, not only in the Arab world, but throughout history. And again, go look at the marriage laws in America. They just changed them. Is it normal to get married at the age of 13? No, why was that the law in New York City? And that's only 100 years ago. You want to talk about 1,400 years ago. People's lifespans were shorter and they did things very differently. So that is the argument I will give to anyone that wants to attack his character based on that. And the people that, you got to remember, the Arabs of that continent wanted him dead. His own family wanted him dead. They offered him to be the king of all the Arabs if he would just accept their pagan way of life. All these gods of Mecca, if you accept it, we will make you the king of the Arabs. He said, not if you gave me the moon and the sun and everything in it, there's only one God. Muslims do not believe that Islam is a new religion. The concept might be new, but the word Islam means to submit your will to God. To who? The same God that we broke the internet with, brother. It's the same word in all 3 languages, and I'll debate anyone, any time of the week. You saw it with your own eyes. He spoke Aramaic, Google, Aramaic word for God. Well, then why are you using Google to prove it? Well, prove me wrong. Go to the Aramaic lexicon. Go to the Aramaic dictionary. Type in God, it pops up there. It's not some trick or some manipulation, but it's to show you how little you know about your own faith and you want to judge others. And that's the biggest problem we have in society today, around the world. People that know nothing about nothing, making statements, and that is one of the dangers of social media, who are not qualified to talk about these things. And maybe I'm more qualified than most, but I still say I can make mistakes. I could be wrong. Please research what I'm saying, because I'm responsible on a spiritual level for the information I give. In Islam, if I preach something to you and it's not accurate, and you base your belief on that or not, I'm responsible. I may have been the one that led you astray because I gave you wrong information. I will be held accountable when I face God for the information I'm discussing right here, right now. So that's why I start with an apology. Please double check everything I'm saying. I could be wrong. It is your obligation as a human being to always question what you are taught, where it came from, the narration, which is very important, the chain of where this information came from, and where it could have or could not have been deviated. It's very important to question where you're getting information, not just in theology, but look at the world we're living in.
Yeah.
The news outlets. Who's financing them? What is their agendas? What other associations do they put money towards? Maybe you can see where the bias comes from. And this is the biggest problem we're facing as Americans right now. What's important for people is not to believe what I believe, and I'm not here to push it on you. Here's what I want to ask people before we get into the heavier subjects of demonic attacks. I believe we are under full-blown demonic attack, under the guise of aliens are coming. And we're going to get to that at first, but I want to start at the beginning, Danny, because it's important. Sorry for the saliva that shoots out once in a while. It's not easy talking for hours.
That's all right. It's all right.
So for me, I ask people this, and this is where I start my whole basis from. So, like I was telling you earlier, it was the finding out that Muslims believed in Jesus that blew my mind away, and that's how I started my spiritual journey. That's how I started studying religion, reading the Bible, reading the Torah, reading the Quran, going to lectures, studying people like Hamza Yusuf, who, by the way, is amazing. People should really check out this guy's work, especially when he talks about the occult and the New World Order and all this other stuff. Amazing scholar, speaks multiple languages, founded a place called the Zaytuna Institute out in, if I'm not mistaken, Burbank, California. And just a phenomenal speaker. He was involved in the burial of Muhammad Ali, by the way. He was born Greek Orthodox.
Where's he from?
He's from California. His parents were professors. His name before he converted to Islam was David Hansen.
Oh, really?
And he had a near-death experience, if I'm not mistaken, when he was younger. And as he laid in the hospital bed, he almost died in a car accident, I believe. And he realized, man, I almost went. Like, this life really is like a joke. Like, I can be here today and gone tomorrow. Like, what's next? What's next? And he went on the spiritual journey, ended up leaving America, he studied every religion, and he left like Islam. He didn't even think about Islam. It was like the last thing he studied. Started reading the Quran. He fell in love with it. Ended up going to, like, if I'm not mistaken, Mauritania and learning Islam from the Bedouins, and became one of the greatest scholars I think we have, not only in our faith, but in the world. And he's such a brilliant speaker. I mean, he's done things with Jordan Peterson, I believe. And
didn't Andrew Tate recently convert his religion?
That's what he's saying, yeah. Yeah.
To Islam?
That's what he's saying, yeah. I mean, I can't confirm, but he's saying, yeah, I'm a Muslim, so...
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I guess everyone that goes to jail these days, huh? When we go to jail, brother, it's like they call it the jail religion. Like, you switch your religion to protection because the Muslims in jail are more like I'm not saying that's why he did it, but like it seems like when people go to jail,
Yeah. Well, I don't think he had to deal with like what normal people have to deal with when they go to jail. He didn't probably have to pick a side or a team. Like,
No, he was isolated. I think, with him and his brother.
It's funny how when you go to prison, it's so compartmentalized into like different racial factions. Like, you're either going to be with the Mexicans, you're going to be with the skinheads, or you're going to be with the black guys. And